Chandler, will you tell us a story from your real life of a moment for you when things changed?
I will. Okay, so I'm going to start it in October of 2020 this year. So it'll start kind of relatively, recent. And there was some stuff that led up to it, and there was some stuff after. But the moment um, was during the middle of the pandemic was quite, like scary at that time. My mother is an ICU nurse in North Dakota, and my father passed away from COVID in April of 2020. And I spent essentially like those kind of 6 months in between in pretty extreme isolation. Um, and I finally decided that I was going to go see my mom for my birthday that year, for my 28th birthday. And I flew to North Dakota in the middle of the pandemic, and I kept, it was so good to see my mom, but I kept crying all that, like I couldn't stop, um, just like I couldn't hold in, what I was trying to say. And she asked me, we were laying on the couch together, and she asked me, like what's wrong, and I said, I feel like I'm hiding something from you, like I'm holding something from you, and I don't want to. And she said, like, well, she's very much like, I know what's going on. She's like, well, what is it? What do you feel like? And so I said, well, there's two things. One of them is that I feel like I maybe have a drinking problem. And then the other is that I I think I need to start hormones, and I'm, afraid about really saying that out loud, because then it's gonna be happening and it's gonna be real. Um, and all of this was it was also like dramatically, I started crying because we were listening to like a James Blunt song together, and like we used to do that growing up all the time, which is very corny. But she was playing like his new music, and I was like, I don't know what it was. It wasn't related to anything we were talking about, but it just was like, I it just made me very emotional. And so her response was, I think that you should do it. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, why have I been torturing myself? Like, I mean, I think to both things. She was like, I knew that she thought I should stop drinking because she's sober, and recognized that it's beneficial. But with the transitioning thing, I thought that she would have just said, like, if you're not certain, let's not make any changes in life that are um, not able to be taken back. And that's how I felt at the time. And then instead, hearing from her that it was like kind of just like that little piece in the puzzle that it was going to happen regardless. That was what I was telling her, was like, I'm sorry, kind of. I was like apologizing to her. And she was like, oh, no, 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 this isn't a bad thing. This is good. Like, let it out, kind of, release that stress or that burden. Um, and then like 2 weeks later, I started hormones. I mean, I remember calling the doctor as soon as I got home and making my appointment. And then I talked to the doctor, and my doctor was actually on pregnancy leave. And so I had a new doctor, and I just kind of introduced myself to him that way, like right away. And he put it in my chart, and like I read the meeting, I read about our thing and stuff. And it just was like the first time I'd ever seen or read all of my pronouns written as like, this is the transgender woman, she is experiencing this is what we've prescribed her. It was very like, it felt it felt like a disconnect at that point still. And then yeah, like head over heels, it was like the fork that was the fork in the road, I guess. And it had one way or the other. I was either going to end up being kind of like a bald man, or or I was going to end up, yeah, turning into the lovely lady that I've gotten